Good morning. Yesterday we have studied the volumetric strain for the triaxial loading. This sum was given for you for the homework. There was some queries about this sum. Sir, we have derived these formulas about the strain in x, y and z direction as well as the formula for the volumetric strain. Okay, the final formula for the volumetric strain what we have studied, that was sigma x plus sigma y plus sigma z upon E into in bracket 1 minus 2 mu. Okay, this formula is in terms of stress, whereas here these forces are given. Okay, the way the forces are given, first you need to convert that forces into the stress. Is because of that forces, first calculate the stress in x, y and z direction. So the stress in x direction is the force in x direction upon the resisting area. For this 500 Newton force, the resisting area is this, which is perpendicular to the line of action of that force. Here, this area resists this force. Here, so according to that, we have to consider the area for this. It is 200 into 150. Similarly, for this 800, this is the resisting area. For this 400 kilonewton force, this is the resisting area. So with the help of that force and resisting area, first find out the stress and use that stress here to calculate the strain in x, y and z direction and the volumetric strain. Once you get the strain in x, y and z direction, according to that you can, or with the help of that you can calculate the change in length, breadth and thickness. And with the help of that volumetric strain, you can calculate the change in volume. Okay. So I hope that simple question, just you have to solve and put the value and get the answer. Okay. Now the next part is bulk modulus. Now I told you that before explaining you the bulk modulus here, I told you that about the Poisson's ratio, which is the ratio of lateral strain to the linear strain. Okay. The bulk modulus is the lateral strain upon linear strain. And I told you that mu for most of the solid is varies from 0 to 0.5. Okay. For most of the solid it is from 0.2 to 0.5 here, but you can say that it is from 0 to 0.5. Yeah. Now this mu, which is the Poisson's ratio, is somewhere related to the compressibility of the material. Okay. Now what will happen if mu is 0.5? I told you to read all these things. This was given as an additional reading. This was given as an additional reading for you. If y mu is not greater than 0.5 or y Poisson's ratio value is not greater than 0.5. I hope that you must have read this here, but in short I am going to tell you, if mu equal to 0.5, the material is incompressible material. Here, that material won't get compressed. It is incompressible material. Okay, here, or if it is greater than 0.5, and if mu equal to 0, if mu equal to 0 means lateral strain equal to 0. Means if we apply any force here in the only linear dimension changes, lateral dimension won't change. Here when mu equal to 0. There are some material here for which the mu equal to 0 means for that particular material, if you apply the force axially, the cross-sectional area won't change. Means there won't be any lateral strain. Here, and one of the example is the cork. Here cork ball is there, or cork is in earlier days the cork is also used to for the cap of the bottle here. So that is the cork material for which the mu equal to 0 means in that case there is only the linear strain, there won't be any lateral strain. Okay, this is all about the mu. Then the next one, I told you that this mu is somewhere related to the compressibility here. So the next elastic constant related to the compressibility only is the bulk modulus. Bulk modulus is denoted by K. Now what is this bulk modulus? How can we define the bulk modulus? Here. Now let's consider, and let me tell you, this bulk modulus is also related to the compressibility only. Let's consider this is one cuboid which is subjected to the triaxial stress system, and this triaxial stresses acting on this cuboid here are equal in magnitude and same in nature. Okay, means they are identical and of equal magnitude here. So when the identical and equal magnitude triaxial stresses are acting on a cuboid, if this is the tensile in nature here, then this will also be in tensile in nature, in y direction and in z direction also tensile in nature. And they should be, all R should be of equal magnitude. Here means this sigma x equal to sigma, sigma z equal to sigma, sigma y equal to sigma. Here, so when a component is subjected to the triaxial stress system of same nature and equal magnitude, here, then the ratio of this stress, which is identical, all three directions the stress is same, then the ratio of this direct stress to the volumetric strain. Volumetric strain is related to the compressibility here. So the ratio of this direct stress to the volumetric strain is known as the bulk modulus. It is also one of the elastic constant, and we can say that it is a property of the material here. So how can we define the bulk modulus? The bulk modulus is the ratio of direct stress to the volumetric strain. Okay, and since it is a ratio of direct stress to the volumetric strain and strain has no unit, so the unit of the bulk modulus is Newton per millimeter square or Newton per meter square, depending on the unit of this direct stress. Okay, here, and let me tell you, it is related to the compressibility. Okay, so remember this thing, the bulk modulus is the ratio of direct stress to the volumetric strain, provided the component should be subjected to the triaxial stress system of equal magnitude and the same in nature. Understood? Then the next one is we have to study is the relation between the moduli of elasticity. Okay, relation between, now till now, which elastic constant we have studied? We have studied the modulus of elasticity E, ratio of direct stress to the direct strain. We have studied the modulus of rigidity, which is the ratio of shear stress to the shear strain. We have studied the Poisson's ratio, here ratio of lateral strain to the linear strain, and next one is the bulk modulus. All these are the properties of the material, which are commonly known as the elastic constants. Okay, here, so we have to find out the relation between this elastic constant for a particular material. Okay, so relation between elastic constant, relation between elastic constant. Okay, let's first consider the relation between E and G. First is the relation between E and G, modulus of elasticity and modulus of rigidity. Okay, now here for this derivation is important from exam point of view. For this derivation, we require the concept of the complementary shear. Here, yesterday somebody told me the definition of the complementary shear, and I also yesterday also I told you that you read something on the complementary shear. Here, in short, I'm going to tell you about the complementary shear, but in principal planes and stresses, one lesson is there, principal planes and stresses. In that principal planes and stresses, we are going to learn detail about this complementary shear. Here, in short, now I'm going to tell you about the complementary shear. Let's consider this is one cube. It is a cube, not a cuboid. It is a cube. Okay, I've shown the front view only. Now, if I apply some shear stress here, actually the stresses are induced here, but some force is applied, and because of that, the shear stress induced on this surface is suppose tau. Tau is the shear stress induced on this material. Now, if the tau is the shear stress induced on this material, when opposite kind of shear stress acting on this also, on this surface also, isn't it? Yeah. We suppose if this is the rod, if it is fixed at this end, and to hold it in equilibrium, if I apply some force here, the opposite kind of force is acting here also. It is similar to this. Okay. Now, because of these two shear stresses, here the material may get distort. It will get distort here. But this material induce some internal resisting force which resists this deformation. Here it is an angular deformation because of the shear stress. I said deform hoga. So to resist this angular deformation, the equal amount of stress, equal amount of shear stress is induced on a plane which is perpendicular to this plane. यार मतलब ये प्लेन पे अगर shear stress tau है यार, ये applied shear stress है और this is the shear stress induced because of the applied shear force. Okay, so on this plane, if the shear stress is tau, the equal and opposite shear stress is induced on a plane which is perpendicular to this plane. Here, so these two shear stresses are tends to rotate it in clockwise direction. So this shear stress is in anti-clockwise direction. So these are the complementary shear stresses. These are not the shear stresses induced because of the applied force. This is the shear stress induced because of the applied force, and this is known as the complementary shear. Yes, these are the induced shear stresses on this plane which is perpendicular to this plane. It is known as a complementary. Complementary आ जाता है. Okay, to hold it in equilibrium, to resist the angular deformation, this shear stress is induced here, which is known as a complementary shear stress. Clear? So इसके बाद में याद रखो कि कौन से भी ऑब्जेक्ट में अगर किसी एक प्लेन में, सपोज दिस इज एन ऑब्जेक्ट, क्लियर, एंड इफ आई कंसीडर वन इंक्लाइन प्लेन, अगर ये इंक्लाइन प्लेन पे एक shear stress है टाउ, क्लियर, तो इक्वल अमाउंट ऑफ shear stress will induce on a plane which is perpendicular to that and opposite in nature. Okay, so this is the induced shear stress and this is the complementary shear stress. Here वो आ ही जाता है, even if it is not shown, but it is there, here, which is known as a complementary shear. Okay, so let's consider this cube here on which let it is A, B, C, and D. Okay, these are the shear stresses, applied shear stresses. These are the complementary shear stresses. Here, because of this applied shear stresses, here this material will get distorted. Here, and let this dotted line shows it is very small, but I am showing it very exaggerated figure. Okay, let this is the distorted diagram. Let this is C dash. Okay, so this diagonal which was earlier AC now distorted here to AC dash. Here, and you know that this angle is known as the shear strain, which is denoted by phi. Here, this angular deformation is the shear strain. Here, if you refer your book, here you will find that here what is the shear strain. So this is the shear strain tau. Here, now since it is the cube, here this angle I am denoting it as a theta, but this angle is 45. Angle made by this diagonal with horizontal. Here, and this BD is the another diagonal. Understood? Here, instead of showing this, here I will show its distorted position. This is the D dash and this is the distorted position. Okay, let's consider this diagonal. Okay, now here, or this is the original position and this is the distorted position. Here AC is the original position and AC dash is the distorted position because of that shear force or shear stress. Okay, now for this material, have understood this complementary shear and why it get distorted here. So let's consider this diagonal here. Now in this case, the shear strain here, the shear strain can be written as phi. Actually, it is tan phi equal to CC dash upon BC. But since that angle is very, very small, so we can write it as a phi here, which is equal to CC dash upon BC. This is the shear strain induced in this material because of the shear stress tau. Okay. Now we know that for this material, the modulus of rigidity G equal to, here I told that it is the shear stress to the shear strain. Here, so it is shear stress to the shear strain. Modulus of rigidity is the shear stress to the shear strain. Here, now we know that the shear strain is CC dash upon BC. So from this one we can write down this shear strain equal to, okay, shear strain here can be written as, if I substitute this CC dash upon BC, so this modulus of rigidity can be written as tau upon or tau into BC upon CC dash. Okay, or from this one I can write down this CC dash upon BC shear strain is equal to tau upon G. CC dash upon BC equal to tau upon G. Here, let's say these are the equation number 1. Here, shear strain equal to CC dash upon BC, modulus of rigidity equal to G upon G equal to the shear stress upon the shear strain. Here, so shear strain can be written as tau upon G, but the shear strain equal to CC dash upon BC. So CC dash upon BC equal to tau into G. Understood? Here, now this CC dash and BC. Now, if I consider this original triangle here, for that, if I consider this original figure, now for what I am going to do in this one, from this C, I will drop a perpendicular on this distorted diagonal. This is tau. On this distorted diagonal, and let this point is E. Understood? Here, now since it is a cube, here this angle is 45 degree, and this angle it is phi. Let me denote it as alpha. It is very small. Since it is very small here, and if I ignore this, so I can consider this angle is also 45. Okay. So this CC dash here in this small triangle, this CC dash is equal to, how I can write it in terms of EC here? Tell me, unmute yourself and tell me how much is that? Okay, instead of writing that in terms of EC, first we'll write down the strain in the diagonal. Here, this is the shear strain. Here, this is shear strain, which we have written as CC dash upon BC equal to tau upon G. Here, now I'm writing it over here. Strain in diagonal. Actually, the diagonal is also get distorted because of this shear stress. Clear? So how much is the strain in diagonal? Now, original length of the diagonal is AC. Since this angle alpha is very small, so I can consider that AC equal to AE. So this EC dash is the extended length of the diagonal. Yeah. So the strain in diagonal can be written as EC dash upon original length, which is equal to AE, and AE is equal to AC, which is equal to AE, upon AE, change in length upon original length. Here, and since this angle is very small, here this AE, EC dash upon AE can be written as AC. So strain in diagonal can be written as it is AC dash upon AE. Yeah. Now this EC dash I have to write in terms of CC dash. EC dash I have to write in terms of CC dash. Yes, so this angle is 90 degree. Here, this angle is 45, or let's consider it as a theta. So with the help of this theta, I want to write down the relation between EC dash and CC dash. Means with respect to this theta, I have to write down the relation between adjacent side and hypotenuse. So I have to use the cos relation here. So it is cos theta equal to adjacent side EC dash upon diagonal CC dash. Here. So this EC dash can be written as CC dash into cos theta, or you can write cos 45. Here, which is 1 upon root 2. Here upon AC. Now, can you write down this AC in terms of this AC in terms of this BC? AC in terms of BC. Okay. So how we can write down that AC in terms of, because this is shear strain is BC, CC dash upon BC. So I have written this EC dash in terms of CC dash, and now I am writing this AC in terms of BC. Here, so what I can write here, again this angle is 45. With the help of this 45, I have to write down the relation between opposite side and it is relation between AC and BC. AC and BC. Here, I'll write it in terms of theta only. If this angle is theta, this will also be theta. Okay, so I have to write down this AC in terms of BC. So I will get this BC upon cos theta here, which is equal to 45 here. Okay, or you can write it as a, in terms of BC, if I want to write down the AC here, if I consider this angle is theta here, then this is the hypotenuse here. So I can write it as a AC upon sine 45. It is one and the same thing. In terms of this theta, this is opposite side, so sine relation here. So this CC dash equal to cos 145 upon is 1 upon root 2 upon AC upon 1 upon root 2. So it is AC into root 2. So it becomes CC dash upon, sorry, I made a mistake somewhere. I made a mistake. I have to express this AC in terms of BC. So I have written it again in terms of AC here. Here it should be BC, not AC. Okay. So this CC dash upon BC, and this is 1 upon root 2 upon root 2. So it becomes 2 here. So the strain in diagonal, because of the shear stress, is equal to CC dash upon 2 times BC. Remember this. And this shear strain, we have written that it is CC dash upon BC. Okay. Now the next important thing is here, you will observe that because of the shear stresses, the applied stresses or forces are the shear stresses. Here there is no any tensile force acting on that component. Okay. This diagonal AC distorted or it elongated because of the shear stress, and since it is elongated, let's consider the diagonal only. Since it is elongated, means in that diagonal there is some direct stress because it is elongate. Whenever there is an elongation, there has to be direct tensile stress, and whenever there is a compression, there is a compressive stress. Clear? The elongation or compression takes place because of the direct stress. Clear? But in this diagonal, the direct stress which is induced, clear? So I am assuming that let the direct stress induced in diagonal is sigma. Sigma is the direct stress. Tau is the shear stress. Now in this diagonal, this direct stress is induced because of the shear stress. Okay, and if you think logically, you can easily observe that if such type of shear stresses are acting, this diagonal will get elongated. And since it is elongated, means it will be in tension. Here this is in tension. This diagonal, AC diagonal is in tension. AC is in tension because it is distorted. Okay, whereas this diagonal is get compressed. This was the original length, and this get compressed. Okay, so AC is in tension and this BD is in compression. Have you understood this? Here, and we are assuming that the stresses induced in these two diagonals is direct stress, it is sigma. This direct stress is induced because of the shear stress acting on this. Here, and in detail, these things which we are going to study in principal planes and stresses. Here, remember one thing, there are stresses induced in a different plane, and in that case, here even if we apply the shear stress or shear force, the shear force is or shear stress is also responsible to induce the direct stresses, as well as here when we apply the, suppose this is one rod, and if I apply the direct force on this or direct stress on this, even if I apply the direct stress or axial stress here, even this axial stress is responsible to induce the shear stress on some plane, inclined plane. Okay, so shear stress की वजह से भी direct stresses induce हो सकते हैं, and direct stresses की वजह से भी shear stresses induce हो सकते हैं. This in details we are going to study in principal planes and stresses. Here, just for your understanding now, here I am explaining this. This diagonal is in tension and this diagonal is in compression. Okay, this diagonal is in compression. Okay, here I have shown the wrong arrow. This diagonal is in compression, so compressive force always acts towards here. So you have to show it like this. and this diagonal is in tension. So it will be like this. When any member or when any component is in tension, the forces acting in the components are like this. Here, this is the in tension. So this diagonal is in tension. Here, and the stresses induced is direct stresses sigma. Here also the stresses is sigma. But this is compressive in nature. This is tensile in nature. Very important. Have you understood this? Here, मैंने तो ये बोला आपको कि just imagine कि AC is in tension and BD is in compression because of this distortion of the due to the shear stress. Yeah, I can explain it in another way also by considering the concept of the principal stress also. Here, listen to me. Let's consider this ACD. If I consider this triangle ACD, ABC. Consider this triangle ABC. Okay. Now on this surface the shear stress is tau, and on this surface also the complementary shear stress it is tau. This angle is 45. Yeah. Now because of the shear stress on this inclined plane, there is some direct stress and there is some shear stress. There will be the direct stress as well as shear stress. So this direct stress, which is normal stress perpendicular to that plane, whenever there is a stress, the line of action of the resisting force or the stress is perpendicular to the plane, it is known as a normal stress or the direct stress. And if it is tangential, it is known as a shear stress. Here, so this is the shear stress acting on this inclined plane, and this is a normal or direct stress acting on this inclined plane. This angle is 45 and this is 90 degree. It means that this stress is acting, if I consider this triangle, so this stress, the direct stress or the normal stress here is acting along this diagonal. Since it is a cube here, so this angle is 45 and this angle is 90 degree. Okay, so this stress is acting along this diagonal. Got my point? Here, now next important thing. So these are the normal and shear stresses acting because of these shear stresses. Now if I resolve this, now it is in equilibrium. If I resolve it, here one component is along this plane and other component perpendicular to the plane. Similarly here also one component is perpendicular to the plane and other component is parallel to the plane. Now both are having the same magnitude because they are complementary stresses. Here, and we have resolved it in which this angle is 45 here. So this component and this component are equal in magnitude and opposite in nature, so cancel the effect of each other. Since they are cancelling the effect, I am talking about the forces. Here actually we are in detail, we are going to learn it in the principal planes and stresses. Here actually here we are not supposed to resolve the stresses. Here from that stresses we have to calculate the force and we have to resolve the force. Here, and we know that the stress into area gives you the force. Here, so here that detail we'll study in principal planes and stresses. Here, it is just imagine that we have resolved this. So these two are equal and opposite, so cancel the effect of each other, and these two here get balanced by this normal stress. These two components get balanced by this normal stress. Here, now the direction of these two forces are upward. Here, so to balance this, the normal stress should be downward. Yes, now since this stress here is directing and it is along this diagonal, since this is directed toward the plane, means its nature is compressive. Here, and that's why this diagonal is in compression. This diagonal is in compression. Here, similarly, if I consider this triangle ABD, if I consider this triangle ABD, here this is the shear stress on this surface and this is the shear stress on this surface. Okay, if I resolve it into two components like this, and if I resolve it into two components like this, one is along the plane and other one is perpendicular to the plane. Now because of this shear stress, again here there is a shear stress on this inclined plane and normal stress. Okay, now since these two components are equal and opposite, so cancel the effect of each other, and hence the shear stress on this plane AB will be 0. Here, this plane is having the very big importance. Okay, in this such type of force system, the plane which carries the 0 shear stress. On this plane there is a 0 shear stress. Here, the plane which carries the zero shear stress, on which there is only normal stress, such type of plane is known as the principal plane, which we are going to study later. So, this tau is zero because they are cancelling the effect of each other, and to balance these two stress component or force component, here the opposite kind of stress is induced on this inclined plane, which is normal to that. Yeah, so this is the normal strain, and it is acting away from the plane, and because of that, and it is acting along this diagonal. So this diagonal has to be in tension because of this force. Okay, so this diagonal is in tension and this diagonal is in compression. Again, if I resolve it, in terms of tau, okay, and if I resolve this sigma also, here this angle is 45. Here these are the two components. Here if I resolve it and if I analyze this, here by using the concept of the principal planes and stresses, here you can get that this tau is equal to direct stress. The magnitude of this direct stress induced in this diagonal here is equal to tau. In this case particularly, here in principal planes and stresses, always it won't happen. Here, how to calculate the direct stress and normal stress acting because of the shear stress, here that we are going to learn later in detail. Here, but here, since it is a cube and this angle is 45, here, and if you analyze this force system, simple by using the condition of equilibrium, here, so you can observe that here in equilibrium, the direct stress induced in a diagonal, direct stress induced in diagonal sigma is equal to the shear stress tau. Okay, this we can prove. यार जो मैंने फिगर ड्रॉ किया था उसको ही थोड़ा इलाबरेट किया यार, तो ये प्रूफ हो सकता है. Here you can try it your home. So direct stress induced in a diagonal, here sigma equal to tau. Here have understood this. Okay, so we have written that the strain in diagonal, here strain in diagonal equal to cc dash upon 2bc, and cc dash upon bc equal to, I can write here is phi equal to cc dash upon bc. So this cc dash upon bc I can write tau upon g. So this can be written as tau upon 2g, strain in diagonal. Okay, and now just now I prove that for this system the tau equal to sigma. So the strain in diagonal in terms of the direct stress, strain in diagonal in terms of direct stress can be written as sigma upon 2g. Have understood this? From this one and from this equation, I have written as a substituted cc dash upon bc equal to tau upon g here, and strain in diagonal, and now I prove that this tau is equal to the direct stress induced in a diagonal. Here, so the strain in diagonal is equal to sigma upon 2g. Here, any doubt? Now, if you observe that there are two diagonals here, this one diagonal is AC, which is in tension, and other diagonal is BD, which is in compression. Here, just look at the board. This is AC, which is subjected to the tensile stress sigma, and the another diagonal is BC, which is perpendicular to that. Sorry, it is BD. Here it is in tension, this is in tension, and this is in compression. Both are perpendicular to each other. The stress induced in this diagonal is also sigma. Okay, now consider these two diagonals which are perpendicular to each other. Okay, means in this case, if I consider this point which is subjected to the biaxial loading, here the stress in this direction is sigma and stress perpendicular to that is also sigma, but this is tensile, this is compressive. Okay, now because of this direct stress, here I have to calculate how much is the strain in diagonal AC, or I am writing it as a resultant strain. Here I have calculated the strain in diagonal because of the shear force or shear stress. Here, and because of the shear stress itself, there is a direct stress induced in the diagonal. And now I am going to calculate the resultant strain in diagonal due to डायरेक्ट स्ट्रेस. ये सिग्मा की वजह से इसमें कितना स्ट्रेन आएगा, दैट आई एम गोइंग टू कैलकुलेट. So this is a strain in diagonal, resultant strain in diagonal. strain in diagonal. So the strain in diagonal, listen to me. The stress in this diagonal is sigma. Okay, and because of this stress in this diagonal AC, here it is subjected to the linear strain. And how much is the linear strain in this direction? It is sigma upon E. It is tensile in nature, so positive. It is sigma upon E is the modulus of elasticity for this material. This is the strain in diagonal because of this stress. Here, now this is the another stress which is perpendicular to that. So because of this stress also there is some effect on this diagonal. So what will be the strain in this diagonal AC along the AC because of this compressive stress? Yeah, now that becomes the lateral strain. Here, the strain in AC because of the stress acting along the BC. Listen carefully. The strain along AC because of the stress acting along BD. Both are perpendicular to each other. So this becomes the lateral strain. So this is the linear strain along AC. This is the strain along AC because of the stress acting along AC. Now I write down the stress along AC, strain along AC because of the stress acting along BD. That becomes the lateral strain. And that can be, our formula is minus 1 upon m or mu into linear strain in this direction. Now the stress is same, E is same. So in that direction also it is sigma upon E. This sigma upon E is the linear strain in this BD direction. और उसको अगर म्यू से मल्टीप्लाई करता हूं, क्वेश्चन रेशियो से मल्टीप्लाई करता हूं, तो आई विल गेट द स्ट्रेन इन अलोंग एसी. दिस इज द स्ट्रेन अलोंग एसी बिकॉज ऑफ द स्ट्रेस एक्टिंग अलोंग दिस बीडी. Okay, next important thing. Now here I have written it as a minus sign. In yesterday's lecture I told that if the stress is compressive, you can take it minus. So this minus minus becomes plus here. Here, now since it is compressive in nature, here since this linear strain along BD is compressive, here the lateral strain along AC will be the tensile, and since it is tensile, so you can take it positive. Or since this stress is negative, you can take negative, you will get the final value will be plus. So this is the resultant strain in diagonal because of the direct stress. Understood? Now if I take sigma upon E common, so it is 1 plus 1 upon m. This is the strain in diagonal. Here now here we have, this is the second part actually. This is the, here we have calculated the strain in diagonal because of the direct stress. And this is the strain in diagonal because of the shear stress. Here now strain is same. So because it is distortion is same. So if I equate the strain, here say if this is the equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. If I equate 1 and 2, okay, I'm writing it here. If I equate 1 and 2, I will get sigma upon 2g equal to sigma upon E into in bracket 1 plus 1 upon m. So this sigma sigma get cancelled here, and you will get this E equal to 2g into 1 plus 1 upon m, or 1 plus mu. E equal to 2g into 1 plus mu. This is the relation between modulus of elasticity and modulus of rigidity. Here you may feel that it is little bit lengthy, but it is not lengthy. Here just it is divided into two parts. In first part we have calculated the strain in diagonal because of the shear stress. Then in second part we have calculated the strain in same diagonal because of this direct stress, but considering the effect of this stress along AC as well as in VD. Okay, so this we will get the resultant strain. Here कल हमने ये equation देखा था. Here we have written that the resultant strain in x direction equal to sigma, resultant strain in x direction equal to sigma x upon E minus mu into sigma y upon E minus mu into sigma z upon E. Same concept I have used here. Okay, and then just equate this, you will get this answer. Clear? So the relation between E and G is E equal to 2G into 1 plus mu. Any doubt? Have understood this? Here now it is 10:30. We'll stop here. The next lecture will be the last lecture on this first lesson, simple stresses and strain. Here, and in the next lecture we are going to study the relation between E, G and K. K is the modulus of sorry, it is a bulk modulus. Okay, so E, G, K का relation देखेंगे, we'll solve few questions and that will be the end of this lesson. Okay, after that I will give the assignment and the quiz. Okay, so for the quiz, I'll give the link during the lecture only. Okay, I'll give the 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes to solve that quiz. Clear? So in 10 or 15 minutes during the lecture itself, you have to complete that quiz online. Understood? Yes, so study for the quiz and I will provide you the assignment also. Thank you. Those who have not marked the attendance, mark the attendance in the chat box. 2 minutes to you.